Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Abigail, and I make videos about special needs and health issues and feeding tubes. A couple things that I want to say before I get started here is if you hear like a beeping sound or a sound that sounds like something is making noise in the background of this video, it's my feeding tube pump right there. Every once in a while it will pump some more formula, and so if you hear this strange sound, that's what it is. So today I'm going to be doing a Q&A. I have my bedtime lights on. It's kind of late here. I use these lights usually instead of a night light because they're kind of more like calm, and I figured that I would also do my video in this lighting because I'm starting to kind of wind down for bedtime. But y'all asked some really good questions, so I'm going to answer them for y'all. The first question is, how has life been with a feeding tube? Life has been very interesting with a feeding tube. There are some things about having a feeding tube that you say is great. There's other things about having a feeding tube that is stressful, and let me kind of give you an example if you haven't experienced this, if you don't have a feeding tube yourself. At least in my experience, I would say one of the hard things is to find a feeding tube bag that is comfortable to wear, because I am on my feeding tube all of the time. And so I don't know, the company that we got my pump from gave us a feeding tube backpack, but the problem with that one is that it's just like the way that like the pump sets in the backpack, it doesn't like it like kinks it, or it will just the way you have to put it in the backpack, you kind of have to put it backwards so it's less likely to kink, and it's just very difficult. Me and my mom went to Bell's, which is very similar to Ross if you don't know what Bell's is, and I found this really cute Stitch backpack, like the kind of backpack that some people use as purses now. And when we got it home, found out that the way it just like rests on my shoulders, it's not very comfortable. It was kind of scratching my neck, and then whenever we tried to like tighten it so that maybe it could be on my shoulders a little better, it was kind of more like forcing me forward in just like this really uncomfortable position. And so because I have scoliosis, we don't want me to have to wear something that's extremely uncomfortable, so we're going to bring that back to the store. We didn't take the tags or anything like that off of it just in case it didn't work for us, but I would say finding a feeding tube backpack that works with your pump has been one of the stressful things about having a feeding tube. Also, like going out in public, since I've had my feeding tube, I feel like that once people realize why, like the feeding tube coming out of the backpack, I feel like people look at me kind of strange. I mean, maybe that's just me, but I kind of feel like they sometimes do, and then it's kind of like this awkward silence of like, you can tell that they want to ask why you're on a feeding tube, but they're afraid they're gonna offend you type of situation, which I wouldn't personally be offended, but I think that's another hard thing about being on a feeding tube is when you gotta bring it everywhere you go, sometimes you get looks of people wondering why, and they're just too scared to ask. But on the flip side of that, the positive part of being on a feeding tube, I think, is I don't have to constantly think about, oh, it's lunchtime, I need to go to the kitchen and get something to eat, or, things like that. So in a way, it is kind of convenient because, yeah, we do have to remember to, like, refill the bag and stuff, but, like, you don't really have to, like, remember to eat because it's literally going through your feeding tube, if that makes sense. Any fun plans for summer? So, kind of yes, kind of no. I don't really know what we have planned for this summer. My plan used to be that in in June, I would go to church camp. But now with my health stuff, I probably won't be going. But in July, I go to a friend's house. One of my friends that lives out of town, and so I get to go down there for her birthday, and we'll see how my stomach is doing by then. I mean, that's still like 2 months away, but my main summer plan right now is to go to my friend's house and probably stay a couple of nights, depending on how their schedule is. But that's normally what I do during the summer. And then another thing that our family does usually during the summer is sign up for the summer reading program at our library. Some years it's great, some years it's not so great, but we at least usually try to do that. Have you learned a lot about lawnmowers from your dad? Honestly, not really. The thing is, I'm not really into lawnmower type work. My dad has done it for years, but I do, like, whenever he gets a lawnmower part in, he'll be like, oh, that's like this part that I ordered, but I don't really know like what the part exactly does on the lawnmower. I do hear like certain parts of the lawnmower that I might kind of understand, but I'm not like really involved in it really. A lot of the parts for the lawnmowers that my dad buys, I don't really know a lot about it. So to be honest, not really. Do you or your family go fishing? No, we don't. We don't actually go fishing as a family. One time church had this, like different men from different churches, got together and went fishing, and I think it was my dad and my little brother went fishing. So technically they have went fishing, but we haven't gone fishing as a family. That's not really something that we do. If you could buy everyone in your family something, what would it be? For my dad is the hardest person to buy for. He's one of those kind of people that it's like, I feel like he has everything that he needs, and if he wanted something that he doesn't have, he would have like the money to buy it. So for my dad, I would say probably either like mixed nuts, because he's very into like healthy eating, or something like a new tool or a new bucket, or just something that he could use for his lawnmower work. For my mom, I would probably get her like a coffee gift card because she does like coffee. But if not that, maybe like a Walmart gift card. That way she could have like some money off of her groceries that she buys. For my older brother Josiah, I'd probably try to find him like something like old fashioned, like a record or something, because my older brother is really into like old fashioned type stuff. And he's also really into music CDs, so probably something around that line. And then for my little brother, if we had the room for it, I would probably buy my little brother a sensory swing because my little brother is on the spectrum, and the autism spectrum. And one time we went out of town and we went to a science museum and they had a calming room, and me and Daniel went to the calming room and they had these swings that were like sensory swings, and Daniel loved it. And so if I was to buy him anything, I'd probably buy him a sensory swing because that's something that he loves. Those are all the questions that I have. Thank y'all for commenting or asking questions. If y'all have any more questions, leave them down in the comments. And it doesn't even have to be enough to do another Q&A. Just like if you think of something that you're curious about, let me know. And thank you for the questions and for watching, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.